more account-wide progression. It doesn't feel like a reward whenever we ask you to do it a second or third time. It just feels like a penalty we inflict, and that's not what rewards should feel like. Holy fuck. Ian is saying exactly what I'm saying. This is amazing. Blizzard is adding in basically bundles to transfer your characters. And I have to say, I said this. I said they should do this 3 years ago. This is a great idea. This is an awesome, amazing, really, really good idea. Like, I said this literally 3 fucking years ago whenever I was talking about microtransactions and WoW. Bro. Oh my god.
From Death of Normal, the Glory of the Dragon Soul.
Bro, I'm complaining about the same shit that I complained about like last week. Oh, okay. Top 5. No. I found it. All right, that's what it was. Yep, you are right. And I remember this made people so mad. This right here is the video. Oh my god. I remember whenever I made this. This was amazing. Holy shit. Okay, check the dislikes. There's none. Nobody dislikes anything that I have to say. Holy shit. Holy shit. Look at that dude. From May 23rd, 2014. I told you guys this was a good idea almost 10 years ago. And that's how long it took for them to do it. How about that, man? And I'm happy. Like, this is great. I'm glad that it's happening, even though, you know, it should have happened before, man. Now sue them for stealing your idea. I probably should do that. That's a great idea. 8 more years, yes. The thing is, like, I've been on top of this shit. I've known bundled server... Look at...
Basically, before I was in Kel'Thuzad, I was on the server Thrall. And
I'm just talking...
80s, and there's no way I'm going to spend $200 to transfer those level 80s. And so I...
Bro, oh my god. I feel so vindicated, man. I feel so motherfucking vindicated. Because I said it. 8 fucking years ago, and here it is. And here it is, boys. And I do have to say, though, $80 fucking dollars. Like, they need to like, think about what $80 is. Somebody says that's 74 fucking McChickens after tax. Bro, that's like a whole flock. You buy a whole flock of McChickens for just one transfer. They need to cap this shit at $50 because let's be honest, Blizzard, there's nothing that you're doing that costs $80 to move these numbers around, right? And I understand it's prohibitive to make sure that players don't just transfer servers willy-nilly. Well, guess what? Who gives a fuck anymore? The server communities are fucking dead. Every realm is connected anyway. What's the point of even adding this unnecessary barrier of restriction? Because back in Warlords of Draenor, the way that the community was, the way that these kinds of things were, was way fucking different than what it is now. And that's what I'm really trying to get at, and that's what I'm really trying to say here, is that a lot of these things here have just changed over the years, and now there's no reason to not do that. Number 1, I'm happy they're doing it. Number 2, it should be cheaper. Like, at a certain point, why does it cost $80? And I can tell you why it costs $80. It is a term. All right. We're going to step back. We're going to talk a little bit of marketing, okay? It costs $80 because of a marketing term called price anchoring. And price anchoring is whenever you set a price and you have the consumer's mind kind of focused around a certain price point for a certain type of product. So what does this mean in this circumstance? This means that in the consumer's mind, $25 is the price of a server transfer. And so getting 6 of them for $80 is a good deal. But the truth is that $25 is not the price of a server transfer. This is the price they charge you for a server transfer. The reality is that how much does it cost for a server transfer? I would say 50 cents. It probably costs 50 cents of server fucking like commands. The entire thing is automated. Yeah, you can do this, the entire system. Yeah, it's literally cents. and it's $25. So whenever you tell me that you're going to charge $80 for this and people think it's a good deal, yes, obviously it's a lot cheaper. Yes, obviously this is better. And I commend Blizzard for making a step in the right direction, but $80 is too much fucking money. And whenever you're charging more than a AAA video game on release, brand new, sometimes even collector's editions, just to play your characters on another realm, you have passed the point of no return. You are fucking insane. What the fuck are you thinking? Why would you do this? And that's what I think is the most frustrating thing. That's what I don't fucking like. Is this for classic or retail? I think it's just for retail, but I don't know. It could be for classic too. Yeah, they're milking it down. It's just too much fucking money, man. I don't know. What do y'all think? Takes up server capacity, there's a cost? Yeah, I know it. I'm sure it's at least a quarter. Yeah, I'm sure there's at least a quarter or so. Like, yeah, absolutely. It does take up server space, but does it take $25 of server space? No, it obviously doesn't. And I actually always defended the server transfer price because I thought that server communities were important. I did. I thought server communities were important, and the price was just simply prohibitive to prevent people from doing it and spamming it all the time, and I thought, okay, that's fine. It's all right. Guess what? That was fucking 10 years ago. Nowadays, servers are all interconnected, and you don't have that same vibe anymore. You have to adapt, you have to change, and you have to do what happens now. Now, I also want to look at one other thing about WoW 9.2. I want to talk a little bit about, like, my impressions about the patch. In today's updated patch notes, Blizzard added 2 lines about gear trading in 9.2. The following restrictions have been applied. Legendary equipment no longer contributes to unlocking the highest item level for that item slot for trading. Class item sets cannot be traded until after earning a soulbound item of equivalent or higher item level in the item slot. Yeah, so this doesn't help anybody. Who asked? I mean, really, who asked? Like, why is this... Why is this an issue? Why are there any rules for trading gear? Why can't you just have personal loot? The people that get the loot can trade the loot if they don't want it. Why? How is this restriction making the game better? Because guilds force people to trade? Then just don't join that guild. If that's the way the guild works, don't join it. There are guilds, listen, I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit of a situation, all right? I like being in a guild where the best players get the best gear, the people that perform the highest get the best rewards, and if you're slacking off, you're out of the fucking group. This is the way I used to raid, and anybody who didn't follow along with that was fucking removed. Anybody who slacked off, anybody who fucked up, anybody who didn't know what they were doing, people that were just annoying in Discord, we got rid of them because I didn't have any fucking time for bullshit. And this is the way I used to raid 100%, but there's a lot of craft beer drinking, 33-year-old watching, Star Wars loving, playing World of Warcraft dudes that just love to get down, get into the raid, get drunk, and hang out with the boys on Friday night for the 2 hours that their wife lets them before they have to go watch reruns of Sex in the City with her. And the fact is that those guys don't play the game like I do, and I don't join their guilds. More power to them. Play the game however you want to play the game. But the truth is that whenever I want to go into a raid and I want to be on a team, I want to be on a team of people that have no ego. I want to be on a team of people that call themselves out. I want to be on a team of people that apologize when they make a mistake. And if I'm not on that team, I don't want to play. I refuse to play with anybody who cannot be accountable for a mistake. I refuse to play with people who cannot research fights. I refuse to play with people who don't want to improve or people who are selfish. I will not play with anybody like that for any fucking reason. And the truth is that if you don't like the way a guild is doing a loot system, don't fucking join the guild. It's that simple. Including yourself? That's right, that's including myself. That's why I kicked myself out of my own guild. In Tomb of Sargeras, I said, you know what? My stream is more important, number one. Number two, I don't have the time to invest into the guild. I can't do it, really. I'm busy, I'm distracted, my damage is bad, my performance is mediocre. I'm not holding up my end. Like, if there were 20 people in the raid that were Asmongold, we would not kill the boss. So I quit. I said, I'm not good enough right now. I'm not able to do it. I'm quitting. And I did the same thing back in actually Ulduar, is I decided that I was just a liability. I didn't really care as much about raiding, and I didn't want to hold my friends back. So yeah, that's what it is. I kicked myself out. I was a guildmaster, and I did that. And I also, I felt like I wasn't holding up my responsibilities as a guildmaster. I wasn't making my stream happy. It was a situation where I tried to please everyone, and I ended up pleasing no one. That's what happened. And I think that if you don't have that awareness, if you don't have that confidence to know whenever you're doing a right thing or a wrong thing, you're going off the deep fucking end, man. They're doing this because of the dumb world first race, though, not because of bad guilds. And that's what I think it really is. I think this is another change that Blizzard is putting into the game because the top 100 poop sockers in the game want to play 8 different characters, 13 different Moonkin alts, so they can fucking have enough damage for Sire Denathrius. That's what it is. That is 100% what this change is designed to throttle. And you know what? I don't give a fuck about the world first race. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. It's not that I don't care about it at all. Actually, that's not true. I care about it, but I just don't care about it more than what the average player's experience is. This is like, I would say it's the tail wagging the dog, but it is like one hair on the tail wagging the tail and also the dog. These are like a fraction of a tiny little itty bitty percent. And this is what the issue is. They're designing content for less than 1 in 10,000 players. Who the fuck thinks of this? Nobody wants this. Who is this helping besides, it's not even helping the top guilds. Whenever you think about it, it's really not. You know what a really good way to do this would be? Is if Blizzard just, I don't know if this would even work, all right? But I feel like the fact that World First Raiders have to run Heroic 10 times a week in the first week of the season, of the first week of the raid being out, I think that sucks. I wish Blizzard could just simply have one, you can just do the raid on one character, you can join on a PTR or something like that, and you can compete in the world first race, and you don't have to adhere to these weird fucking bullshit restrictions. I'm curious to hear what somebody like Max or Scripe would have to say about that, because I feel like that's I don't do it, right? But I feel like for them, they probably hate that. They probably fucking hate that. Having to sit around and run, the same raid and fucking funnel gear to 1 or 2 characters. I think they probably don't like it at all. So, Max's characters play game. Well, he does. He does the world first race, right? But I feel like it's just fucking bad. It's just such a bad design. And they could make it better without affecting the entire player base. And I think that's what it is. Ian interview. Patch 9.2. Okay, I'm just going to scroll down, look at these. All right, this is on design goals, but in a lot of ways it's carrying forward the philosophies that we pivoted to in many cases 9.2, player feedback over the course of Shadowlands, building a whole new ecosystem, a whole new piece of content from the ground up with those in mind. We'll see how that turns out. I feel like a lot of the systems in 9.2 are still not account-wide. As I've said before, did I say 7.2? Sorry, I was remembering the good days. The fact is that every single secondary system at endgame should be at an account-wide level. The only thing that you should have to farm on your max level alts is gear. That's it. I don't want to farm Azerite power. I don't want to farm artifact power. I don't want to farm reputation. I don't want to farm the Cipher of the First Ones. I don't want to farm Korthia research. I don't want to farm Stygia. I don't want to farm Torghast. I don't want to farm a legendary cloak again. I don't want a legendary ring either. I don't want any of it. Make it all account wide and give people the chance to play the fucking game. Imagine that. Imagine somebody makes an alt and they can just play the alt. Imagine. Wouldn't that just be crazy? So Lost Ark? Yes. And I want to say this too. After playing Lost Ark, after playing a lot of these other games, that's why I've come to this conclusion. I've looked at the lack of friction that Final Fantasy has. If I want to go play my warrior, I click a button. And guess what? I can get gear for my warrior while I'm on my Dark Knight. And that's another insanely good thing. The fact is that the game right now has so many barriers to entry for new players that are getting into the game, and also for people that are one-class Andes that want to play something else. Because you know why? Who the fuck wants to play through all of those systems again? Nobody does. I think there's value in pacing players. I think there's value in the systems fundamentally. I think the tower knowledge was fun to progress, and I enjoyed it, and it was very well designed in my opinion. But I don't want to do it twice. And I'll tell you one thing, is if the next expansion has a bunch of these end-game systems that force you into playing and doing the same bullshit again on multiple characters, Blizzard is kicking themselves in the dick, and they're biting it off, eating it, swallowing it down, and they're killing themselves. There is nothing good about this. This is not helping anybody. This is not doing anyone any favors. And the fact is that alts used to be a way to keep content fresh. And now alts are a way to remind yourself about how stale the content is instead. That's what it is. Talk about, oh, we made most of our account unlocks account-wide. It's flying into zone or access to content. In general, just trying to get ahead of what we've been hearing from players in the recent years and taking those lessons to heart and building them into the content from the ground up. Number one, this is not entirely true, Ian, and you know it. A lot of the systems are not account-wide, and there is no reason for them not to be account-wide. But, you know, this is at least a good first step. We will see, listen, the next expansion is where we will really see it. And I also, there are going to be people, I can guarantee you, there will be people that in the next expansion will say, well, if you have 5 characters and you run 5 Mythic Plus dungeons on every character every day, you can advance your main character slightly faster. That's why it can't be account-wide. And you know what I say? No, sounds good. Have fun. Yeah, have fun. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Sure. Yeah. All right. Who cares? Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? That's literally the gameplay loop of Lost Ark, Asmon. Yes. And guess what? I'm having fun playing the game even whenever I'm playing on one character. Do you know why I don't play alts? Is because I find that gameplay repetitive. I think that it's repetitive gameplay, and you can also cap it on an account-wide level. There's a million different ways that they can solve the problem. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a fucking tangent. I'm not even talking about the interview, all right? Untested raid bosses. This is something that's really fun. We haven't had a chance to do in quite a while. Is the final 3 raid bosses of the raid have never been seen in the public test realm. They've been thoroughly tested internally, but in this zone full of secrets and mysteries, we wanted to try to preserve some of the sense of mystery that's been so lacking in this age of data mining and broad knowledge. Yes, in my opinion, I wish there was no rating PTR. I know this will never happen. I wish there was no PTR, period. I wish you just had, like, maybe a little, you know, like, you know how Final Fantasy does, like, they had, like, that Endwalker press event where they would show some of the stuff and that was it. I wish I could go into the game not knowing anything about it and just be thoroughly astounded by the content. But the fact is that, like, WoW is infinitely more complex than Final Fantasy. It just is. Like, you have gear with, like, certain effects on it. You have, like, trinkets that you can use and unuse. It's infinitely more complex than Final Fantasy is. In terms of, like, the amount of gears that are in the machine that make the game move. There are just so many more, so that's why they probably have to do a PTR, because they just can't account for everything. So yeah, 20-year game, it's way bigger. Yeah, exactly. So let's see here. Players going to the last section of the raid and 3rd week of the patch, they're not going to know what awaits them. They'll figure it out. People will write their guides. There will be YouTube videos. It's inevitable. First couple of days, it's going to be a truly novel experience. That's something that we haven't seen in WoW in a long time. And I will be there to do it. My plan is I will do the raid. I know some people are like, oh, we never play WoW. I'm going to play the raid on release night, okay? On release day. 100% I will. And you know what? I'm fucking excited to do it. I am so fucking excited to do it. I think it's going to be really, really fun, man. So yeah, that's what the plan is. That's what's going to happen. And I want to be one of those first people that goes through and gets those cinematics. And I want to get some really good players. And that way we can actually get there faster than Wowhead does. And you guys can actually see it for the first time on my stream. So let's see here. Beyond that, there are some amazing encounters. I think Anduin could be an end boss in most other raid zones, but this one is just a major boss 2/3 of the way through. Team's gone above and beyond with the environmental integration and a lot of these encounters. Jailer Fight in particular makes impressive use of very unique gameplay space and elements in the room, but anything more I could say would be a spoiler. I think that's great. I'm really glad to hear that, and I hope the raids are good. The truth is that I feel like, okay, so in WoW, in Shadowlands, I feel like we have actually had some S-tier fights. Like, in my opinion, I think Sludge Fist is an S-tier fight. I think Painsmith is an S+ tier fight. I feel like Denathrius is A tier or maybe S tier. Right? Shriekwing is a good fight. I don't like Shriekwing. I find it annoying. Yeah, I think Painsmith and Sludgefist are probably two of the best fights Blizzard's made in the last 5 years. It's Shriekwing, it's unique. Yeah, it is unique. I mean, you're right about that. It's a unique, interesting mechanic that, I guess I'm biased against Shriekwing because I pugged that boss before, okay? So it's a very different experience, pugging the boss. But yeah, Stone Generals, I feel like Stone Generals kind of sucked. But anyway, all I'm saying is that, like, Blizzard has made good raids. Okay, here we go. More account-wide progression. This is exactly what I wanted to hear Ian talk about. So let's see what he says. The core character base progression is power progression. It's getting gear, getting stronger, essential RPG experience of what we think players are often looking for whenever they make a new character. They've reached a plateau. They've done their goals on one character. They want to experience the journey again with another. If you're not feeling rewarded by running dungeons and getting item upgrades because you already have it all, that feel takes out a big piece of the repeat experience. If you do have some content to unlock quests in the area, unlock access to a dungeon, unlock the ability to fly, it doesn't feel like a reward whenever we ask you to do it a second or third time. It just feels like a penalty we inflict, and that's not what rewards should feel like. Holy fuck. Ian's actually saying this is good. Ian is saying exactly what I'm saying. This is amazing. You have a big epic quest line that goes all the way through Zereth Mortis and the conclusion of many events in Shadowlands, Fate of the Jailer, etc. Awesome quests. Once you've done them, you, the player, have done them. We don't want to make every character, every alt, go through those experiences unless you want to replay them. That's something where we make sure that major unlocks are account-wide. What? Is this a new leaf? Thank you, Phil. Phil's already going in there doing work? Holy shit. I want to make sure that, like, this is the central RPG experience, part of what we think players are often looking for whenever they make a new character. Please, Ian, understand that these unlocks for, like, flying or dungeon access feel the exact same. It feels like the exact same penalty as having to refarm tower knowledge. It's not just these different accessibility options. It's also these different secondary systems at endgame. Please, Ian, please understand that. We are so close. We are doing so well. Please understand that it does not just stop at accessibility. Yes, this is good. Lies, you will see. And when we see, I will make a video, and then the thumbnail will be like this. Right? Like, that's what it's going to be. I'm totally fucking okay with that, and I'll be ready for it. Gameplay beyond power progression. If we put power behind, it'll increase your damage in a dungeon or damage in a raid boss on the system. It now becomes mandatory, whether that's gameplay you enjoy or not. So having something that's like, here's hardcore power gamers, optional, but still deep in something they can take at their own pace is something we're trying to do. Offer a wide range of options without pressuring people to play the game in any way they'd rather not. I think another thing that Blizzard should do is they should give more classes buffs. Because one of the big reasons why Burning Crusade is so good is the fact that Burning Crusade has there's a reason you bring a Fury Warrior. There's a reason you bring a Rep Paladin. There's a reason that you bring an Arms Warrior. There's a lot of reasons, that you bring a Shaman. And all of these things that you have make the characters' damage not just what they bring to the table. It's like, for example, I would take a Warlock into my raids, even if the Warlock did half as much damage as everybody else, because Health Stones and Gateway are such powerful tools. And that's how you actually get beyond the min-max mentality and the mandatory gameplay. Is you add in resources and you add in things that players can bring to the table that makes them unique and makes them special. And like, for example, warriors can do, they can like taunt with die by the sword. Like being able to tank a boss for 8 seconds while taking no damage from physical melee damage is fucking insane. On top of that, Paladins can bot people. Warlocks can do like 5 different things. Rogues used to be able to do smoke screen and you know, shroud of concealment, etc. And that's how you actually bring in. You don't, and you win 2 times here, because you create class identity and you also create a way for people to feel like they're useful in the raid, and you get people to think beyond, because this has been a big issue with WoW for a long time, is that people only think about the damage meters. They never think about raid utility. They never think about what that player brings to the table. They never think about when that player is able to do damage. So like, for example, arms warriors are ridiculously fucking good whenever you have a fight that has like an ad that you have to like cleave down, because they can use sweeping strikes and just do huge amounts of damage. Now, is that good all of the time? Are arms warriors good all the time? No, but they have these niches that make them really, really powerful. So what I'm saying is that you have to give classes more of these abilities that they can do that really allows them to stand out. Because the reason why class identity was so strong and so good in Classic WoW and Burning Crusade wasn't because, this is my opinion, it was not because that the classes were really good at like some things. It was because they were really bad at other things. Mages were gods at AoE. Warlocks were gods at multi-target. Warriors were gods at single target and cleave melee damage with little movement. Let's see, hunters were just disgusting with damage, but they brought no buffs. Hunters brought almost no buffs to the raid, comparatively to something like a shaman or something like that. What did Ret Paladins bring? What do you mean, what did Ret Paladins bring? Ret Paladins were huge. They brought in their blessings. Ret Paladins brought in blessings. Number 1, they also brought in, was it Sanctity Aura? What was it? It's 3% crit. Yeah, I know it's 3% crit. I forgot what it's called. Yeah, they brought in Salvation as well. Yeah, Salvation. They were really, really good. Like, Burning Crusade, in my opinion, is what class design and class balance should be. Minus some extremes, of course, right? I don't want a carbon copy of that. I just want something that emulates that goal. Yeah, Cleanse too. Yeah, you have a Dispel as well. Yeah, Paladins were really fucking good. And as I said before, the only class right now in retail WoW that has that, in my opinion, is Warlock. And Warlock doesn't just have that once, they have it 3 different times. They can summon, they do Hellstones, and they also have a gateway. Warlocks are the highest utility class in the entire game, and it's not even remotely fucking close. So yes, these are huge. Let's see here, min-max mentality. All right, that's good. And I want to look at this real quick. One of the big lessons we learned over the course of Shadowlands is a trend to present across all gaming in general. The metagaming, figuring out what the metagame is. A new game comes out and people want to know what the tier list for classes or characters is. Heaven forbid you pick the wrong one. In Shadowlands, we initially set out to have some good options, some good rewards we imagine would be just for hardcore min-maxers, completionists, etc. If you want to chase adding a socket to your gear for a fraction of a percent of damage, or upgrading a conduit for a fraction of a percent of damage, we wanted to give people who wanted to go that deep on their characters rather than going broad and playing a lot of alts, something to work for, some reason to do it. I don't see why these 2 things don't have... I don't think these 2 things are mutually exclusive. I think that people that want to go deep also want to go wide. These are people that, like, they want to go deep on one character because they really like that one character, but many of those people also want to go deep on another character. They want to go deep on a 3rd character too, because they're hardcore players. So I think, again, it's more about the account-wide stuff, right? We often hear people talk that they're upset about they run out of goals and lack of motivation to do anything. Feedback to people who are upset whenever they run out of goals and lack of motivation to do anything. I don't know if that's really true. I really don't think, like, so just because you put something out there as a goal, that doesn't mean that the players will perceive it as a goal. Like, for example, having all of your gear, all of your conduits fully upgraded, this does not make me perceive a high quality goal. This is not a fun goal for me to go after, and I don't really care about it. You need to log in. Expected to see this 0.4 power increase. That there was something behind that didn't necessarily enjoy doing absolutely mandatory, and that's not the outcome we wanted. The game needs to be fun. You need to log in and look forward to the adventures you're going to have, the things you do with your friends, and the stuff you're going to explore, the goals you're going to chase, and not feel like you have a set of chores that you have to accomplish before you can play the game the way you want to. As much as possible, we're pivoting away from that and trying to offer true options without power dictating gameplay. You know what's crazy about this? Everything that he's saying is good. Like, everything that Ian is saying is unironically good. This is actually what we've been asking for and actually what we want to see. Now, this is still only a promise. And as I said before, I will use this, I will reference this whenever the next expansion comes out and it has the same bullshit time-wasting systems. So I have no problem. I have no problem taking a W, but that doesn't mean that I can't imagine taking an L in the future. That's all I'm really trying to get at, okay? So yeah, obviously it feels good. It feels good now, but we'll see what happens whenever it actually, push comes to shove with the new expansion. This is about borrowed power. From the artifact system onward, the fact that things were temporary enabled the team to pull out all the stops and make them more immediately impactful, deeper, and transformative of your gameplay than it ever would have been if they needed to last forever. If we're all going to do these additive things for your character, imagine having all of your talents, plus your full artifact weapon, plus full Azerite powers, plus covenants. At some point, it would just be complete nonsense. I think that he's right. And I think that, like, for example, Path of Exile has this problem, where, like, if you miss 2 leagues in Path of Exile, you will come back and you're playing pretty much a different game. It is a lot fucking different. Path of Exile, I think, is a great example of having a game that just has so many systems that they become oppressive. The Path of Exile systems, there are just so many of them. They are so hard to understand for a lot of people. People see all the systems and they say, whoa, like, I'm done. And you know what Path of Exile did? They revamped the fucking Atlas. They revamped the way that the Watchstones worked. They changed the way that, There's the Watchstones, the Atlas, and they changed a lot of the stuff. And they got rid of a lot of it. Like, Path of Exile has improved in this regard because they acknowledge this as a problem. But I feel like you do want to have, I would always err on the side of having more than less. But like in Legion, I feel like there were 2 or 3 points in the game where I felt my class was complete. I felt that my class was complete in Wrath of the Lich King. I felt that my class was complete at the end of Mists of Pandaria, and I felt that my class was complete in Nighthold for Fury Warriors. Whenever I played that class at that time, I thought to myself, we really out here, boys. We really out here, boys. And it felt fucking good. It felt really fucking good, man. I loved it. We approached Shadowlands in a much more structured way that didn't have open-ended grinds to them, but we still allowed for meaningful additional choice and gameplay depth. Looking back and continuing a look at Covenant abilities and the way that we've transformed gameplay, those have been tremendously successful. We're already hearing players saying, hey, I hope I can keep invoking spirits forever, because I can't imagine playing a druid without this ability. That's a sign of success. I think that Ian is right. Yeah, I think that Ian is right. And I'll explain why I think he's right. So, this was definitely the goal with Shadowlands. Shadowlands is the first expansion that we've had in a long time that you can finish your class. Like, at the end of patch, 9.0, I had full 226 gear, all with sockets, and I had beat the game. I had all the gear I needed to have. Every time I logged in, I didn't have to get or farm any gear. My character was, for all intents and purposes, best in slot. And it felt fucking amazing. I loved it. So the Covenant abilities and how they transform gameplay, he's talking about how they've transformed gameplay. And not about the acquisition of them. The acquisition of them was terrible. But I do enjoy the Covenant abilities. And this is what I said with the Shadowlands beta. I'm not mad that I'm not mad that, I'm getting a new ability. I'm mad that I'm not getting all 4. I want all of the abilities. I want to be able to use and play whatever I want. Because it's fun. It's fucking fun, man. And that's all it comes down to. Yeah, please keep Venthyr Execute. Yeah. Yes, please. Please keep that. Can't use outside Shadowlands content, by the way. That's what it used to be. And that's, again, like, I literally forgot about that. You used to not be able to use your Covenant abilities outside of Shadowlands. Again, the next expansion, I think, for a lot of people, is not, like, everybody says, this expansion, guys, listen. This expansion is the make it or break it for World of Warcraft. If they don't get it right this time, it's their last chance. And you know what? That's not true. Because people will come back and buy the new WoW expansion no matter how shitty it is, even 10 years from now. But the truth is that they have an opportunity to reinvent the game and make it better in the same way that they did with Legion. Next expansion will be an opportunity like that. There is so many MMOs going on right now, so many people excited for MMO type games, fantasy type games. This is Blizzard's opportunity to lose. Tally said 10.0 will be different. I think that, again, Tally was right about a lot of stuff. Tally is almost always right because guess what? Tally lives in, he lives in California. He lives pretty close to the Blizzard headquarters. And, he might know some people that, maybe those people know some things. And, it's that kind of stuff. Anyway, you just know it will be even bigger than Shadowlands? Yeah, I hope so. I certainly fucking hope so. I cannot wait for a Riot MMO. Yeah, same. I'm really excited too. You underestimate the new age of gamers. We're tired of being burned and won't stand for it any longer. Yeah, until the new cinematic comes out and you're like, you know what? This is actually pretty cool. I'll try it out. Yeah. Every single, listen, you guys need to understand this. Every single gamer boycott is 1 3-minute cinematic from being over. That's it. It is done. The moment that they see a good cinematic, everything else, there was like people like getting abused at the office. Yeah, but I mean, like, it's a he said, she said thing. I mean, like, I don't know. I just, look, man, I just don't hate the player, hate the game. I just want to play the game, guys. Look, let me just focus on the game. And people say wrong. People say no, that's not true. And look what happened with Hong Kong. Free Hong Kong. Remember how I said everybody wasn't going to give a fuck? And they didn't. The fact is that these kinds of things, they run their course and then people move on. It's unfortunate, but there it is. So let's go back over here. We're going to look at the rest of these. And actually, you know what? I've looked at all of this. Borrowed power, class faction guilds. I'm not going to worry about that too much. Who gives a shit? We'll see what happens when 9.2.5 comes out. Overall, I think this interview was really good. This is one of the most promising interviews that we've had with Ian in a long time, probably over a year. I'm really glad to see what he's saying, and I really hope that this type of communication continues and this type of honest introspection continues.